What's up, guys? It's the Baller Sports Dialogue Podcast. It's your co-hosts, Brandon Deutsch and Grant Mona. The best co-hosts in the game right now.
Absolutely.
The up-and-coming. We're going to talk some basketball, some football today. I know it's kind of a dead period for basketball. Not a lot's happening, especially with the KD situation. We'll go into that. Although I think people are tired of hearing about the KD-Kyrie situation. We'll go into other stuff. We don't even need to talk about that. Either he ends up in training camp.
Well,
with,
there's one
thing. The Celtics thing, but he's not going to go to the Celtics, you know? I don't think. Well, they should have accepted that Jaylen Brown package, and we'll get into that.
We'll figure.
I know you disagree with me there, but we can talk about that Knicks package. You're so hell bent on the Knicks not trading for Mr.
Well,
but he guarded Paulo, and of course Paulo dominated Donovan Mitchell. Of course he did. You know why? Why? Because Paulo's 7 feet tall and Donovan Mitchell is 6'1". Dude.
Yeah, but we all know that Donovan Mitchell can't guard on the perimeter.
No, he can't, but imagine him guarding a 7-footer that's skilled like Paulo Banchero or Banchero.
But the thing is, that session right there, that practice, whatever it was, that run, proved that he doesn't put effort into the defensive end. And I know it's a run, but
Yeah, but his offensive game, when he was going against Jamal Murray and just absolutely going off in the playoffs, that can happen again for Donovan Mitchell. He's an offensive superstar. The problem is the Knicks head coach Tom Thibodeau values defense. And if you give up your whole defensive scheme for a guy that doesn't play defense, and you have Brunson and Mitchell, who are both under, 6 feet or 6 feet tall, just about?
Yeah.
I mean, that's like the smallest lineup. They're going to get killed by bigger guards. Even the Pistons would just go to town on them with Jaden Ivey, how big he is, and then Cade Cunningham being 6'8". I mean, opposing defenses, they'll be able to guard them pretty well, and it's going to be up to the big men. Like, if they keep Mitchell Robinson, he'll need to improve offensively. They're going to have to see a huge leap from R.J. Barrett, since he'll probably be one of the tallest guys on that team, right? And I think he will have that huge leap. Yeah. But I agree with what you're saying about not giving up all of these prospects simply because you're going to lose so much defense. And remember, 14 out of the last 15 NBA champions have had a top 11 defensive rating. Mm-hmm. That's where the Lakers messed up the last couple of years. The team
they did good this year, though.
The team, they'll be I think they'll be a top 15 defense. Yeah. I don't know about top 10. It depends on what they do in the coming weeks. If Westbrook's on that team, it's going to be really hard to be a top 10 defense. But the team that would have beat the Suns if Anthony Davis was healthy, they were the number one defense in the NBA. Frank Vogel was just on his game. And Dennis Schroeder was balling out. They had Andre Drummond playing defense at an elite level. And you had Anthony Davis, obviously one of the best defenders in the league, especially. I think he's the best two-way defender in the NBA besides Giannis, just two-way, like how good he is offensively versus... Okay. No, I'm not counting guards like Kawhi Leonard. I'm saying big men like Giannis.
No, that's fair because...
Right?
I mean, he should have won Defensive Player of the Year in 2019, 2020.
Yeah.
And they gave it to Giannis for some reason.
He should have won Defensive
Player
of the Year.
MVP.
And LeBron should have won MVP that year.
Yeah.
Come on, 10.2 assists per game.
I was all in on the Lakers duo.
But the following year, they shouldn't have broken up that team because first in defense, if they were healthy, they get to the finals. Who knows if they beat Milwaukee, but they get to the NBA finals. And they went away from that. Management went away from that. And that's where I agree with you, Grant, is when you talk about the Lakers and what they prioritize this offseason. I know we're not going to talk about them much. They prioritize defense.
Yep.
Lonnie Walker's not good and being young. Lonnie Walker's a good on-ball defender, well above average. Yes, he can't rotate well. I'm sure Darvin Ham will. His off-ball defense is pretty gosh awful, but he's young. He averaged 14 points per game for the Spurs. I mean, this is a great signing. Thomas Bryant, stretch 5. That's why I don't get the Jay Huff signing. That's the one thing we'll talk about. Like the Exhibit 10, it's fine. You kind of needed to give him a training camp invite. At the end of the day, Cole Swider made 28 threes from beyond the arc. Only one was wide open. He's 6'9". He's an above-average defender. He's already better than Duncan Robinson. Yep. He could have given Huff his two-way contract and made Swider full-time, because I think it's a crime if he plays any minutes in the G League this year. This guy is NBA ready, and he's going to be the best shooter on this Lakers team.
I fully agree.
Right?
I don't understand how... Well, after all this time, I mean, you've had enough of a sample size, right, to say, okay, what does LeBron and AD need around them? Okay, First of all, they need to be young, right? That's what they had in 2019-2020. They had Caruso. KCP wasn't old. He was probably in the prime of his career.
100%.
Kuzma young. They had all these other guys. JaVale McGee was like in the prime of his career, just coming off of 2 championships.
Yeah.
You had all these young guys, so young, which they did, but you need shooting. And around LeBron and AD, Cole Swider's like the perfect guy that you need.
People talk about trading for Joe Harris. You have Joe Harris.
You have Joe Harris
that
right
doesn't
there.
make
and
even $25 million a year.
Even if you do get Joe Harris with Kyrie, you'll have 2 Joe Harrises.
Exactly.
Two
perfect guys around LeBron, or even Buddy Hield. You have 2 Cole Swiders, right?
I don't get, and the other thing is that they signed they signed Jay Huff to
Exhibit 10.
Exhibit 10,
and I get that,
which is basically just saying, hey, we're going to give you a shot in training camp, and if not, we're going to send you back to South Bay.
But I can't see him making the team. You got Damian Jones. You got Damian Jones, Thomas Bryant, and Wendy and Gabriel and AD can both play center.
That's what I'm
saying.
They
have enough 5s. They don't need a 5. They need shooting. They need a forward or a guard.
I don't understand how you can give him, McCoy, and I forgot who else.
Fabian. Is that Fabian McCoy?
Yeah, McCoy.
Then they gave someone else. It wasn't Pierre-Louis.
Although
they should have probably given Pierre-Louis.
Yeah, Pierre-Louis is great. I like him.
Great defender.
But you give 3 Exhibit 10s, and you don't give Cole Swider anything. You know?
Yeah, here's a hot take.
Why?
Here's a hot take. I know he's not the greatest shooter, but we bring up Pierre-Louis. I think Craig Sword, who's in the G League, they could get the rights to him. That could be Gary Payton II. Shout out to...
No, Pierre-Louis can too.
Pierre-Louis
is more of a Patrick Beverly.
Shout out to the G League, man. Developing these gritty players that come in and they can dominate and make a difference defensively. Craig Sword and Pierre-Louis are those guys. Wherever they go is going to be great. The Lakers giving up, letting McClung go. I'm not completely against it, although I love McClung's game. He's become an improved defender for his size. He's obviously supremely athletic. Needs to work on his turnovers a little bit, but he can get to the rim with ease. He has a multitude of moves. Yeah. The problem is you got Scottie Pippen Jr., and if you make a Russell Westbrook trade, you're either going to have Russell Westbrook or Kyrie Irving or Dennis Schroeder, right? And Scottie Pippen Jr., right?
Wow.
And Kendrick Nunn, unless you trade Kendrick Nunn with Westbrook or something like that.
I could understand
what I'm saying?
from that.
You have too many guards. And plus Lonnie Walker's, he has a 6'10" wingspan, but he's a 6'4" guard.
I feel like McClung's shown enough to be electric to where you okay,
I think it's an Alex Caruso type impact.
I'd take him over Scottie Pippen Jr. I don't know.
Of course.
So why did they let him go?
I wouldn't have done it. I would have promised him, but the thing is, the problem was they panicked a little too early in free agency by getting Troy Brown Jr. Because what's he gonna do? What's he gonna do? Waste of a roster spot.
He does have. He's young. I said, he's young.
He's
he
talented.
Does have athleticism, but the sample size for his 3-point shooting. First of all, his shooting's terrible. His offensive game isn't that good.
No.
Defensively, he's gritty. He's kind of like I said, like a Patrick Beverly type energy guy, but to waste a roster spot in a contract where you could give that to Swider or maybe even somebody like Boogie Cousins as a backup center.
Yeah.
And they gave it to him. I don't get that.
I also think they
I like the JTA one, the Juan Toscano.
Yeah, I think Juan Toscano Anderson's perfect for the team. He's a spark plug. He plays defense. His offensive game, he makes good decisions. He doesn't need to. I love that signing. I think people are hating. Everyone's like, oh, Rob Pelinka doesn't know what he's doing. Well, what would you do? Give 2 first-round picks for a guy that doesn't want to be in Brooklyn?
Rob Pelinka only had so much to work with.
I mean, come on.
When you have a guy opting into a $47.5 million player option,
we know what this Laker team is going to be about. If Anthony Davis can play, regardless of who's on the roster, can play 65, 70 games, they'll be in at least the play-in.
Right.
Probably the playoffs, and they'll have a decent shot. Regardless, even with this roster now, I do think this is the deepest the West has been. I said this in the last podcast. You've got Minnesota, New Orleans that are possibly better than them, right? And many people would say, yes, they're 100 times better than them. And then you've got the 6 that are obviously better than the Lakers. Nuggets, Clippers, Suns, Warriors, Grizzlies, and Mavericks. So right now that puts the Lakers right now at the 9th most talented team in the West. However, they have LeBron James and Anthony Davis.
That's what I'm saying.
So if they're healthy, I don't think Minnesota beats them in a series. I don't think think New Orleans beats them in a series. But they wouldn't play those teams. If they keep this roster right now, they maybe get the 9 seed. They'd have to play, I don't know, a Phoenix, a Golden State.
I'm kind of skeptical about the Mavericks, and not a lot of people are talking about the Mavericks because. Yes, they did get Christian Wood, but Christian Wood has proven to be not that great of a teammate.
Not a great defender.
Not a great defender.
He can't switch. He can block shots and rebound, but he can't switch on the interior.
He can stretch the floor, which they'll really appreciate because they didn't really have it.
But he's 6'8", 6'9".
Yeah,
they need a 7-footer, right? I mean, they got JaVale, which was a better signing.
That's a better signing than trading for Christian Wood, in my opinion.
Oh, I'm with you. 100%.
I don't. And they got him for 3 years. That's like JaVale McGee's been on like 1 year deals.
Everywhere he goes, he wins.
Yeah, and he's been on like 1 year deals this whole time. I don't understand that.
Sense.
Finally,
one
they
of the best interior defenders in the league.
Yeah, but
underrated.
Like, the Mavericks, you lose Jalen Brunson, who, and I've said this on my TikTok, is that it's he was the 2 to Luka. He was like a perfect 2 for Luka. Yeah. Like, he can cut. He can handle the ball. He can feed guys. He's a very good mid-range shooter, very good around the rim.
Yeah.
And you lose that, and you go, okay, they lost him, but they're getting Tim Hardaway Jr. back. And a lot of Mavs fans are going, yeah, we did lose Brunson, but we're getting that three-point shooting, that playmaking from Tim Hardaway Jr. I don't think it stacks up, and I wanted to see what your opinion was about that. Like, how do let's do this.
Yeah.
Are the Mavs better right now as constructed, or in the Western Conference Finals like they were last year?
Will they get there?
Which team's better? This one now or the one that was in the Western Conference Finals?
The team that was in the Western Conference Finals,
right.
Because Brunson's impact.
Right. And I think it's a lot of people are saying, oh, well, you forgot about the Mavericks. You forgot about the Mavericks.
In your top 6. The one addition is Hardaway Jr., and that's a big addition. I get that.
I love
because
Luka.
Plus, we can't. Luka's going to have the LeBron effect, man. You can never count him out, regardless of who he has on his team.
And that story that came out that he's not recruiting anybody, he kind of just doesn't care about. I don't know if that's true.
Well, yeah, he just has his guys, and I think Dorian Finney-Smith's one of the best two-way players in the league. He had a great year. Christian Wood spaces the floor. But I'm with you. The West is as stacked as it's ever been.
And I think they just made like a linear move.
And we don't love Rudy Gobert, but if Anthony Edwards and Karl Anthony Towns have another big leap, Well,
even if Karl Anthony Towns stays the same and Edwards takes a leap.
Edwards is going to take a leap. Let's be real. Edwards is pushing top 15. Edwards is a future NBA. Mm-hmm. He's definitely already a star, but he has the ability to be a superstar as soon as next season. Yeah. I think him and Cade are going to take the biggest leaps. And Mobley and Barnes probably are the guys that are there, right?
Yeah.
And for me, it's like I agree, but they're going to have a tough time beating even a Minnesota.
I think the Lakers can compete with the Mavericks right now.
Oh, 100%.
They did last year.
Well, the Lakers...
They bit Austin Reeves at a game winner.
If you give LeBron defense and just enough shooting and a healthy star, he's never missed the finals. Right. Isn't that a crazy statistic?
Right.
I mean, I don't consider Westbrook a star, and that's why they didn't make it last season anymore, because his stats may say that he's a star, but he's not. When Anthony Davis is healthy, he hasn't missed the finals.
Right, exactly.
When Anthony Davis is healthy, he hasn't missed the finals, right?
Yeah.
I mean, he would have made the finals if he was healthy against Phoenix. I know these are big ifs, and Kobe's...
It would have been a Clippers-Lakers...
Right? Oh, man. Match. We might get that this year if they can make some good moves.
I would love to see that. We need to have it at least once with this core.
I just want the Lakers to... I don't care if it's Kyrie or Buddy Hield or Miles Turner. Just make one of the moves. But I also agree with Pelinka. All the Lakers Nation people, and I love you, Lakers Nation. Grew up a diehard Laker fan. I'm still diehard. And it's like, I love you guys, but Pelinka should not give up 2 first-round picks for either of those deals.
That's ridiculous.
No. Why? You don't need to. I know everyone's like, oh my God, Russell Westbrook. No, but look, Russell Westbrook, oh my God, Russell Westbrook, he's going to come to the team, oh my God, it's a bad contract, it's a bad... Teams like the Pacers, no one understands cap. Imagine, no one understands salary cap. Pacers, long-term...
They want them out.
They want Miles Turner and Buddy Hield gone.
Well, but Miles Turner's expiring.
Okay, so that's the value. Even if you just trade for... And they gave him 1 first. And I agree. They could... If they add in THT, I think they get the deal done for Turner and Hield. And none.
Right.
If they average...
And I've been saying this for a long time.
I don't know why
they don't want to part with him?
No, they're not trying to make the trade. I think they make one of those trades, or the Eric Gordon one at the worst. And I don't love Eric Gordon, but it's like...
They should have made that deal at the deadline.
For Wall and Gordon? Yeah, and Westbrook in a first. That's good. Because Wall can still provide value, and he's a gritty player if he's healthy.
Anything's better than Westbrook as your starting point guard.
For the Lakers. Westbrook's going to be good on another team. Yeah. But it's like he needs to be on a team that doesn't value defense or winning. Right. And he'll lead them to the playoffs like he did with Washington. The thing is, people are always like, Westbrook, I don't want his contract. He sucks. He's Westbrook. But you got to think about it like this. He's an expiring contract. Teams that are in a rebuild, like Indiana, or like the Charlotte Hornets, or the Utah Jazz, why do you think they're calling the Lakers up in the Spurs, thinking they can get compensation and take on Westbrook's contract? They want to get rid of salary cap guys in the middle and get picks. Rob will probably give up 2. He's been known to give up more.
They should.
And I'm not. Look, I would love to work for the Lakers. I'm not trying to talk crap about Rob Pelinka. I think he's a smart guy. Yeah, I mean, I'm not trying to make a dig at him. But in the past, if we just look at the past, he's given up more than he should for Anthony Davis and for other things. For Westbrook, he didn't. I mean, do you really think he had to give that much up for Westbrook? Well, I know that was a LeBron thing.
Well, coming off the year that Westbrook had, I could understand it because he came.
I didn't understand it. That was a little too much.
The second half of Westbrook's year in Washington,
I know,
was amazing.
But the thing is, no one wanted that contract except LeBron.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, they thought it would just pair the 3 stars and it'll work.
Yeah. But they're a mess. We'll see what happens, right? I mean, they're not a mess if they have their 2 stars healthy, but you get what I mean.
They're going to be less of a mess.
Because they've put a defense and a great coach and coaching staff around LeBron. And I think it's underrated. We talk about Darvin Ham and how great of a first-year coach he's going to be, but Chris Jenner, as an assistant coach, really taught Kevin Huerter how to, take his shooting to the next level. DeAndre Hunter in Atlanta, Trae Young, all those guys. He taught how to shoot better. Cam Reddish, he was working with him a lot. And when they let Reddish play, he almost scored 40 points a couple times. Right. So, what he's going to do with Lonnie Walker, with Austin Reeves, if Austin Reeves starts hitting 40% or close to 40% from 3, it's over for the league almost. I'm not trying. I mean, I'm really high on Austin Reeves. I know we kind of get hype about him because he's there's not many
he's a new
guy.
He's like the Caruso replacement for Lakers.
And he's an elite defender, by the way. Yeah. Probably the second best on the team to Anthony Davis right now. Right? Am I wrong? I mean,
LeBron's not a slouch.
Yeah, but he doesn't try a lot of times on defense. He could, but
no, because now you got some defenders. Damian Jones is a pretty good rim protector.
Yeah, but I'm talking. Yes, I agree.
Perimeter defender.
Yes. Reeves is probably the best one. Right?
Yes.
I mean, besides Davis. Davis is so good he can defend the perimeter, right? But he's quick.
Healthy,
I hope he's healthy. That 60-1 Vegas bet I had, MVP Davis. I get nightmares about it when I go to sleep. I mean, I really want him to win MVP. If Davis can have an MVP type year, that's why when Mark Jackson, everyone's clowning Mark Jackson, Lakers could be a 4 seed and win a championship. I mean, everyone knows that the Lakers could win a championship next year if their guys are healthy, regardless of who they have, because LeBron is still prime LeBron. The statistics back it up. Shout out to NBA University, that new Twitter page that's been going off. Shout out to you guys. You guys are balling. We'll send you this. You can check us out. We'd love to have you guys on, provide some statistics. We're statistics guys, right?
Yeah.
So you look at this, and everyone's like, oh, LeBron. Screw LeBron. He's not the best player in the NBA. Well, statistically, he is the best player in the NBA. 23% of his games were against top 5 defenses, and his true shooting percentage was 68% on 15 to 20 shots per game, almost, and he was averaging 32 points per game. Giannis didn't even have close to the percentage or points against top 5 defenses. So I think there's an argument that LeBron is still the best player in the NBA.
I mean, didn't Mark Jackson say that? Mark Jackson
kind of said that. If you have the best player in the NBA, just get your guys healthy. And even the Lakers last year, as big of a mess as they were, if Davis was healthy and LeBron was healthy and they got into the play-in, they win the play-in and probably beat the Suns in the first round. Straight up. I mean, the Pelicans got 2 games. What do you think LeBron would do against the team? When they wanted to win, they beat the Warriors, the champions. I know Thompson and Draymond weren't completely healthy at that time, but that was still a great Warriors team that LeBron pieced for 56 points. I mean, LeBron is still the best player in the NBA. I think there's an argument, right? I'd say it's Giannis, LeBron, 1A, 1B, right? You don't, right now, I think LeBron has...
And I think you got to take into account how much better he makes his... imagine the Lakers without LeBron.
Exactly. I know people clown on him. Well, dude, they had 33 wins with him playing half the games. Imagine without him.
All-NBA.
I know.
Right.
Imagine without him. I think he should have been first team All-NBA. Think about this. LeBron has had efficiently the best season of his career, shooting-wise.
Yeah.
30 points per game. Would have won the point thing if he had played. But why would he waste his body on a team that wasn't going to make the playoffs, right? Yeah. So I'm just saying, shout out to NBA University for providing that. And all the people that say garbage time, he had more clutch time points than anybody in the league and didn't play as much in garbage time as people think, right? His percentage of clutch time points. LeBron is still LeBron James. He's still prime, right? So if you get just bring up Cole Swider, Rob, don't think about it too much. But I like how they're not just, here's 2 picks for Kyrie. Because Kyrie is, at the end of the day, it's great to get Kyrie talent-wise, but you just don't know what that's going to... LeBron, the only good thing is LeBron has won a championship with Kyrie.
Right.
And if you get him and Davis... and if you get him and Davis on the same team, you probably win a championship this year, close to it. I mean, the Warriors and Clippers are still better than you, but you can at least go toe-to-toe with those teams if you get a talent like Kyrie Irving. The defense may falter because Kyrie doesn't really play defense, but he's so gifted offensively, you can hide him defensively.
Yeah.
Especially if you got... And here's something that goes unnoticed, too. The Lakers, similarities to their 2020 championship team. And I know I said I don't want to talk about the Lakers on the podcast, but let's be real. Everyone wants to hear about the Lakers. It's like the Yankees. So we talk baseball, people want to hear about the Yankees and Dodgers. You talk football, people want to talk about the Rams and the Cowboys. Like everyone talks about the Cowboys all day, and we all know the Cowboys aren't going to make the Super Bowl next year, but they're still going to talk about them. People say the same stuff about the Lakers. The Lakers have a better shot at getting to the NBA Finals next year than the Cowboys do with the Super Bowl. I would say that.
Wow. Really?
I mean...
Coming off a division title?
Can they beat the Niners or Rams in the playoffs?
No.
Exactly. But, I mean, if they play the Packers, they could beat them. Maybe get one playoff series. People are like...
Everybody's off on the Packers.
No, everyone's on the Packers. I heard someone on Get Up say the Packers are going to win the Super Bowl.
Like not media, but like casual fans are out on them. Because
they lost the best receiver in the NFL. That's pretty big. It's like the Chiefs. Patrick Mahomes is so generational that they'll still win 12 games even without Tyreek Hill. Because Reed's system and Patrick Mahomes as a quarterback, like that's just going to happen.
You could put a lot of wide receivers.
Yeah, like Juju's going to have a huge year. Like that's a sleeper. And I know we'll get into football in a bit. But let me just say this. The Lakers will be fine. I mean,
I think they'll still be a top 7.
They're going to have a better year. LeBron doesn't want to miss the playoffs again. His reputation is hurting right now. And he doesn't like to let that happen.
And he looked pretty...
In Davis at 4:50 a.m. I know.
I know. Like he lost some weight. He's
LeBron. He looks more agile. I think he's going to have. But my main point is the team that won the championship had size. What does this team have? Size. Right.
And they're young.
Perimeter defenders and young. Very similar to the Lakers team.
Because we were saying the same thing in 2019 when. Everyone's like, oh, Kawhi Leonard, held up all their signings.
And the Lakers aren't going anywhere.
And Rob Pelinka just went on a run and got, like, KCP was already on the team, but he got all these players out of nowhere to 1-year deals or 2-year deals, whatever it was.
JaVale was on
and everyone's like, oh, the Clippers have better depth. The Lakers
Which was true.
Yeah, well, kind of. Looking back on that Clippers team sucked. But anyways... The Lakers, there was always this speculation about, can they shoot? Can they shoot their way out of it? Are they going to have a good offense? They didn't need a good offense. They had one of the top defenses in the league. And that's they had LeBron and AD playing at the peak of their powers.
And I'm not saying I know
great defensive coach, great defensive scheme.
Yeah.
You didn't need shooters.
Exactly. That's going to be similar to this team. I'm not saying this team's going to win a championship, but I'm saying they'll likely be better because their defense is going to be better. They're going to be better.
I'm not even going to say likely.
No, they're going to be better. Of course, because their defense is better.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But I think the NBA is the best it's ever been if you look top to bottom.
Agree.
All right, I want to move on to your predictions in the NBA first about which players, I know we kind of talked about this, like with Edwards and stuff. Before we go into teams, which players are going to take the biggest leap next year for you, Grant?
Oh,
biggest leap.
Like
a Desmond Bane type leap?
Or I'd say the rookies. Like, because the rookies that were in the Rookie of the Year contention. Yeah. Because if you look at Cade Cunningham, got off to a slow start, then kind of found his way, right? He was miserable
in the first half.
Right. And he kind of found his way, and then people were like, oh, this guy's
unguardable.
Legit.
Yeah, he's unguardable in the second half.
Plays defense, great offensive player, pick and roll really good. He can now, with the guys that they just drafted, I'm high on the Pistons like nobody
They're
else.
A playing team.
Yeah.
That's not even a hot take.
I mean,
they're going to make the play-in.
I said fringe playoff team.
They're a playing team.
They're playing fringe playoff.
Charlotte, Miles Bridges in the State Correctional Center.
Right.
like, the Hornets aren't going to be as good as they were last. That's a big piece. He was their second best player.
He was their second best player. Maybe first at times.
And can you rely on Hayward and Rozier to stay healthy?
Right. And that's another trade that the Lakers may look into. But
I wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
I'd rather just say, like, Westbrook, I'd send you home. I don't want Rozier and Hayward.
In terms of the teams, I'm going to say Pistons are going to be way better. In terms of players, Cade Cunningham's going to be a lot better.
But Vegas seems to know a lot of times what they're talking about. I think they're really wrong with the Pistons win total.
It was 27.5.
27.5? They can win 35 games.
That's what they did with the Cavs last year. And that's another team that's a sleeper.
Well, they could be a top 4 team in the East.
And I say sleeper like they didn't make the play-in. Everyone's sleeping on this team.
Darius Garland's leap last season was insane.
Well, still, they're going to have a fully healthy squad with Ricky Rubio back at some point.
And that goes into your next guy, Mobley. He's going to have a huge leap, right?
Mobley, he was on my fantasy team last year, everybody. He was absolutely sensational.
That's like a Anthony Davis,
I think he
Chris
can be
Bosh
like the next Tim Duncan.
I mean, that's not even... I agree. I'm really high
Mobley's that good. He could have made All-NBA, All-Star.
If he wanted to. The thing is about Mobley is he's the perfect modern NBA center because he can pass at an elite level too. Right. And that goes unnoticed. The Sabonis, the Jokic's... Yes, with his shooting. And his shooting doesn't need to get better. I think it will.
No,
but I
his
think
post-game's really his footwork.
Oh, it's so good. Yeah. And his IQ is incredible. Yeah, and he's one of the best.
Those USC brains.
I know, but he's one of the best. He's one of the best shot blockers in the NBA already.
And he
has
his brother now too.
Yeah, but his brother will honestly be pretty good in that offense because his brother can shoot and he can rebound.
Right.
And he's 6'10". Right. So that's really all you need to do on this Cavs team that's honestly very deep. Karis LeVert, Darius Garland. But I'm with you with Mobley and Cunningham.
Yeah.
Let's start with Mobley. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he averages 22 points per game next year, even on a stacked team.
A full season? He was hurt a little bit, too. I think
he's going to get 10 rebounds and over 2 blocks per game. We know that. Mm-hmm. The thing that...
I'm really excited for that team.
That's going to be a really good team. I said on TikTok, follow me, Brandon S. Deutsch. I've been lacking views right now. We got to get this... We got to get hyped with the basketball stuff and the fantasy football stuff. What I'm saying here is, Mobley is going to have a huge year in the Cavs. I said I wouldn't be surprised if they get to the Eastern Conference Finals.
Yeah, I think they're definitely... I was saying that last year when they had everyone healthy is that they were hovering around the 1 seed for a little bit.
Yeah.
They were in the middle of the year and they were 2 seed.
They're like this year's Memphis Grizzlies. They'll get to the second round and have a shot to get to the Eastern Conference Finals. I think Memphis is almost a lock for the Western Conference Finals.
Wow.
Even in a stacked West. Almost a lock.
They can beat Golden State?
Well,
they could have last year.
They wouldn't play Golden State. Golden State's going to get... Yeah, they could have beaten Golden State.
But I'm saying
or
something like that.
Well, I think the Clippers would play the Warriors in the second round.
Yeah.
I think that'd be a second round series, and I can see Memphis steamrolling the Mavericks or, as good as Luka is.
The
Pelicans. They'll beat either of those teams. Timberwolves, they'll beat that team too. Memphis is nice, bro. Memphis is going to finish...
People slept on them just because they made it the second round.
Memphis has the most depth in the NBA with the Clippers. Mm-hmm. I mean, they're both up there, right? And I think they could finish first in the West. I would not be surprised.
They did lose Kyle Anderson, though. So
I mean, but look at the guys they got. Kenneth Lofton Jr.
Yeah.
And he's a beast.
Everyone
slept on him. Everyone slept on him because of his weight, dude.
I love Kenneth Lofton Jr.
Shout out Kenneth Lofton Jr.
Man, I love it.
Dude, his post move. That's like Zach Randolph. I'm looking at Zach Randolph.
He's more athletic than Zach Randolph.
I know, but Zach was a better shooter. But still, but dude, his post moves are elite.
Yeah,
it's crazy, bro. He's so NBA ready.
Memphis has to have
15 guys that can play in the NBA right now.
But also one of the best scouting departments I've ever seen.
And the best coach. One of the best coaches in the NBA.
Yeah.
Taylor Jenkins.
And one of the richest owners.
If John Morant stays healthy, he doesn't even really need to stay healthy. They're still a 55-win team.
That was the record last year?
20, that's why John Morant didn't get many MVP
or something. Yeah.
But if John Morant can stay healthy, this team's ceiling is championship next year. They could win. But remember, the West is... I do think it'll be they'll have to play a team like the Lakers, and that'll be tough for them. Mm-hmm. If the Lakers can get Kyrie.
Here's one for you.
Yeah, go ahead.
Josh Giddey will have a better year this year.
Chet Holmgren?
Yes.
Chet Holmgren's a beast.
People are saying that Josh Giddey can be because he's 6'7". What is he? He's tall, Josh Giddey. 6'8".
Point guard.
He could be like a 6'8" Steve Nash. The way he passes the ball, the way he fits it into tight areas, pause.
I mean, he needs to work on his turnovers, but his passing is elite. I agree with you. I like that Thunder team.
Me too. I love
Fringe
the Thunder
10 seed. Kings, too. Kings.
I love the Thunder's core, and I love the Houston Rockets core.
Okay, but Houston's not going to make that big of a leap this season. Not? The Kings and Thunder are both better than them.
Are they?
I mean unless Jalen Green... have. I mean, that's another guy who's going to have a big year. Jalen Green's second half was great.
And Tari Eason.
He had multiple... Tari
Eason is so
I'm in love with that guy.
So underrated.
That guy is one of the best...
Shout out to my dad. My dad called this from the beginning. He loves Tari Eason.
Tari Eason was an elite defender, and he showed in Summer League that he can shoot.
And in the Drew League, he put up 30-something
points. And then the Lakers sent THT to Drew League. Please don't send him to Drew League again. The trade value just went like this. He was looking like a scrub in Drew League.
It was 12% from 3 years.
Kalen Warren Tucker reminds me so much of me at like LA Fitness. Like some games, like I have the talent to just go off and get 40, like get all 21 points or 15 points at LA Fitness and dunk and hit every three. And then some games I'll just be like off my game and I'll just look like a scrub.
Right.
Like that's Taylor Horton Tucker. Do you see the moves he has sometimes?
Well, we were watching him. Me and Brandon went to one of the Lakers-Raptors games at Staples Center, Crypto. And he showed some athleticism where, like, this guy's the truth. And then other times it's like, this guy needs to be demoted to the G League.
Yeah.
It's like up and down with him to where he could shoot 12% from three, or he could have like a 30-point game.
All right, so unfortunate. That's segment one. When we come back, we'll be talking about more NBA rookies that are going to, or like second-year guys that are going to ball out in teams. All right, welcome back to the Baller Sports Dialogue podcast with your co-hosts, Brandon Deutsch and Graham Mona. I know we were talking about leaps. We were enamored with Mobley and Eason. And, I mean, Eason's a rookie. Holmgren. Obviously, Jalen Williams, Thunder, Josh Giddey. Going to have a great second year. Cade Cunningham. You know my thoughts on Jaden Ivey. Love that man. And I want to go back to the teams because I know we said Memphis could be the number 1 seed. I know we also said Cleveland could be a top 3 or 4 seed and take that Memphis-type leap. I think they have the ability and the depth to do so. I also love that Kevin Love's on that team still. I think he's going to have another good year. I mean, this is a pro of pros. One of the best shooters in the NBA still can rebound at a high level. Another team that people are sleeping on still is, you want to guess?
The Pelicans?
The
Pelicans. I love the Pelicans. I think me and you
Williams
share a love for the Pelicans.
I love the Pelicans. How could you not like? Even when they were beating the Lakers last year, I was like, but I love the Pelicans. You know, I could. It's like
they beat the Clippers.
It's like when the Raptors. And I was like, when the Raptors.
So
I love the Raptors too. And when they beat the Lakers, I'm like, you know, the Lakers aren't going anywhere this year, right? So like, this was last year. I'm not saying next year.
Yeah.
I mean, they could have gone somewhere. Even with we talked about that, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
The Pelicans, bro. Zion Williamson. You want to see his statistics from what was his last season? 2020.
Yeah.
Not 2020 to 2021, right?
Yeah.
Zion Williamson, just look at right here on StatMuse, shout out StatMuse, right? I know he averaged 28 points per game on like 67% shooting.
It was like
so
historic.
Look at this, 2021 regular season, 27 points per game, 7.2 rebounds on 65 true shooting percentage. And he shot threes. How many threes did he attempt per game? Let's look right here. He attempted...
What? Yeah, but even if he doesn't even have to attempt threes.
Well, he only attempted 1 3 a game, just about.
Except for that first game that he had in his career.
And his EFG, I'm sure his EFG was 60, 61, 62 that year. I mean, this guy's unguardable when he plays. And he's going to be healthy. I know we say that, like, we hope he stays healthy. He's kind of like an Anthony Davis type, like, I hope. But remember, Joel Embiid was hurt, like, the first 4 seasons of his career. And now we're kind of seeing Joel Embiid. Like, everyone gives Zion on unfair. Like, he's looking jacked. He's not fat anymore. I mean, he was never fat, but you know what I mean. Everyone was talking about his weight, and, like, he did gain a little weight when he was hurt, but he's locked in, and he looks jacked.
Looks great.
The league should watch out when you got Brandon Ingram, who, by the way, averaged 27 points per game, over 27 points per game after the C.J. McCollum trade, and he got C.J. McCollum.
That's crazy.
And then this season, even with all the depth they have, and they're still going to sign a Boogie Cousins or a LaMarcus Aldridge or someone like that because E.J. Liddell got hurt for the whole year, so they need another 4. Dude, this is going to be Brandon Ingram's still going to average 26, 27 points per game.
Larry Nance too.
That's a guy underrated. Could take a leap. Brandon Ingram to superstar.
He already did in the playoffs.
The way he looked, like, that was like who had a similar, like, that was like a Luka type series that Ingram had against the.
Yeah.
That was pretty, like, that dude got whatever he wanted. You insert Zion in there. That is a sleeper. That's a sleeper to go to the Western Conference Finals next year. You don't know how high. I know I'm saying, like, Memphis. Anybody could go there.
Willie Green.
Willie Green.
Willie Green's such a great
He's
coach.
like the second coming. He's like Ime Udoka, too. Yeah. All those guys were, like, fantastic coaches. Like, the first year, second year guys.
Oh, it's so cool.
I mean, Ty Lue won in his first year. Ime Udoka got to the finals his first year. Willie Green took a team that was 15 games under and started out.
They were talking about one of the worst teams of all time. Remember? It was like these posts.
I mean, by the way, they were 8 and like 24 to start.
That's
the year.
what I'm saying.
And they still made the playoffs. And almost beat the Suns. Probably should have beaten the Suns. You got Alvarado, Herb Jones. The mix they have. First of all, the tenacity of the team.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Willie Green coaches the shit out of that team.
Absolutely.
And it's not just that. Jose Alvarado, Herb Jones, Jonas Valanciunas, like Zion Williamson, Brandon Ingram, C.J. McCollum, Dyson Daniels.
Trey Murphy.
Oh, Trey Murphy.
Trey
Murphy. He's going to talk about a guy who's going to have a huge leap.
Yeah.
You see that guy in Summer League?
Yeah.
26 points, 23 points. And he went off in the playoffs in the first round against Phoenix. He's a 3-and-D guy at 6'11". Mm-hmm. I mean, this is a team that's long. They remind me of the Lakers.
A lot of people
wingspan.
A lot of people talking about the Clippers having a lot of depth and a lot of wings.
Pelicans.
The Pelicans.
Dyson Daniels.
They might be comparable.
We don't even talk about Dyson Daniels because he didn't play in Summer League. Mm-hmm. One of the more NBA ready players Dyson there is. He's going to come into the league. People compared him to Marcus Smart for a reason. Yeah. He's a bulldog on the defensive end, and he has the playmaking skills of Alonzo Ball. You know, like he can get guys open. This is a great prospect, and he's 6'8", 6'9". Like, and he's Australian. You know, he's locked in. Not because he's Australian, just because he's like a foreign player coming to the NBA.
Yeah, if you look at like all the guys
even
that
Epsom and Killian Hayes are like.
Was it Josh Christopher from the Rockets came from Australia?
No, Josh Giddey.
Giddey. Yeah, but Josh Christopher came from the Australian League too, I think.
No, that was RJ Hampton.
No, somebody from the Rockets.
From the Rockets?
Oh, Jayshawn Tate.
Oh, yeah.
Jayshawn Tate came from the Australian League.
He was awesome.
All these guys that come from the Australian League. LaMelo
even played better defense.
All these
LaMelo
guys
couldn't play a lick of defense in high school.
Giddey.
And look, LaMelo's still not a great defender. The steals per game that he had 2 are like a little misleading because he cherry picks and, you know. But he's better at defense.
Yeah.
You know, and the Australian League teaches defense a lot, right? So, I mean, and Josh Giddey is not terrible. When Josh Giddey entered the NBL, the New Zealand or Australian League type league, he was one of the worst defenders anybody's ever seen for his size. And in his first year, he wasn't great, but he improved a lot. The effort was there. And defense, half of it is effort. We all know that. Yeah. And also, there's some guys that are unguardable, like Zion. You can do your best effort. He's still going to score on you. Giannis, like LeBron. Like, those guys are Durant. Like, you can put a hand up Durant's still going to put it in your face, right? But the Pelicans, dude, I am with you. I think this could be a 50-win team. Yeah. Especially if Zion... And talk about, like, MVP candidates. Brandon Ingram and Zion. And CJ, so underrated. Dude. Not MVP, but like CJ's like the perfect Robin, dude.
Yeah,
and like of all time, that's Robin.
Like one of the reasons the Blazers got to the conference finals like CJ. 3 years ago.
Like Dame is obviously
CJ made 2 clutch shots to get them.
Yeah, but Dame's Dame, and then you give Dame a guy like CJ. Why did they blow that up? I don't get that because they could have been a really good team this year. And I still think they have the shot to be okay, but Shaedon's way too young for them to make a serious impact. I like Shaedon Sharp.
I like the Blazers.
That's I do. Team that's... Jeremy Grant's going to be good. Nurkic, re-signing Nurkic was huge, and they got him on I know he got paid $70 million, but Simons
extended to Anthony
Simons is baby Lillard.
That's a guy that he already did take kind of a leap.
He's not going to take it because Dame's going to be back. Yeah. I feel like honestly, if I was the Pacers GM, I would have traded Damian Lillard. And I would have rebuilt it around Anthony Simons, drafted Shaedon Sharp.
That's what I would have done.
And taken,
you know how much you could get for Damian Lillard?
A lot. The Lakers would have given you like their picks until 2070.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, also, they would never trade him to the Lakers. You know how unfair that would be if they had Damian Lillard, LeBron James, and Anthony Davis?
Well, there's talk about him going to the Sixers before they.
At least Kyrie, he could be like he could have an episode and like not show up for like 30 games, you know, or like be unvaccinated. There might be mask mandates soon, and it's like he could not show up. But Damian Lillard is like no, it's true. Have you heard about that?
I know.
It could come back,
but it's just so funny that that's going to cause him to. It's not an injury. It's just a mask mandate.
What was the vaccine? He didn't win. And Wiggins was like, I wish I didn't get vaccinated.
I know.
He won a championship, bro.
On the All-Star
it's not going to kill you. I get that people have their own choice.
Yeah,
dude, it's not going to kill you, and you won a championship.
Yeah, you won a title.
Like, why would you say that after
somebody else said that too? I forgot who it was.
I don't know who it was, but regardless, Jordan Poole's going to continue to take that step. You know, he's the 6th man.
Jordan Poole already made the leap,
right? Though. I think if Tyler Hero gets traded, he makes a leap. Right? Like if he gets traded,
he made a leap last year too.
I know. Well, no, he kind of went back to the trajectory. Remember, because one year he was in Miami.
Oh yeah.
And he was like messing around and stuff, and wasn't good and wasn't locked in. But once he was able, like if he gets traded to Utah and becomes their star, with Mike Conley passing to him, let's assuming they keep Mike Conley. I mean, Tyler Hero's gonna average 24 points per game if he's in Utah. Like that guy can score at will.
He can score. He can't defend.
Yeah, no, of course, but neither can Mitchell. Perfect for the Jazz.
Yeah.
And you know, the Jazz won't be good. I wouldn't be surprised if the Jazz finish in last.
Wow.
Because Quinn Snyder, you know how
good, really?
You know, because think about this. You know how good of a coach Quinn Snyder was? Well, that's if Mitchell's off the team. Okay. If Mitchell's on the team, there's no way they're finishing last. Like, let's be real.
No.
Because Mitchell will take over enough games.
Vanderbilt and Beverly.
And Beverly now. Well,
good.
That's pretty good. And Walker Kessler's a discount Gobert.
Yeah.
You know, like he's an interior defender. Obviously, he's not as good as Gobert, but he's a discount Gobert. Malik Beasley can still hit threes at elite level. You got Mike Conley, you got Bogdanovich. So that's not a bad team, but in the West, they're not competing. Let's be real. Yeah. Whether they have Mitchell or not. If they don't have Mitchell, if they make a trade for Mitchell and they get Tyler Hero, they could finish 15th. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't be surprised because Quinn Snyder hid Mitchell on defense.
Oh, yeah.
And made Gobert the player he is today. And now I have this weird thing like Tim Connolly, who, got hired to be Minnesota. Like, did he intentionally, give up too much to not get Kyrie Irving to the Lakers and stuff like that, or not get KD traded to the Suns?
I don't think it was that deep-brained.
I mean, because he got fleeced. Let's be real.
Gobert, that was one of the worst
trades I've ever seen.
I can't say that.
Yeah. And look, Tim Connolly, I'd love to work for you. I love you. Yeah. But, if I was advising you, you didn't have to give up that.
Hey, I'm sorry. I'm going to say it how it is.
I mean, Hassan Whiteside was better than Gobert in a permanent basis last year.
You've showed, and if you guys can go back in our podcast, he's
on the stats,
numbers.
Hassan Whiteside, 11th in player efficiency rating in 17 minutes per game.
Yeah.
And had per 40-minute better numbers than Gobert per 40 minutes.
Yep. Right?
So, I feel like you give up Jared Vanderbilt, who has the opportunity to become a Ron Artest type guy. Elite defender, elite rebounder, brings tenacity and defense. I wish the Lakers could get a guy like that.
Yeah.
Right?
Wow.
But they got rid of him. He really didn't get much. Gobert, he'll make you better in the regular season. He'll give them a better defense. But
did you see? I don't know if it was Cat, but I think it was Cat. He compared this team, or it might have been their coach. Somebody was talking about this, that they compared the Timberwolves to the 2019-2020 Lakers in the sense that you have a four that's an all-star, like Davis. You have Cat.
You have a defensive center.
And you pair a defensive center with him, and it was elite. That was that pairing, pairing Dwight Howard and JaVale McGee.
Well, it could.
If
Anthony Edwards
was awesome.
It's all going to be on Anthony Edwards. Gobert is still a good basketball player. We're not denying that. We just think he's a bit overrated.
Yeah,
and if Anthony Edwards,
on the contract that he's on,
it's going to be on the contract that he's on. He's a great defender. We all know that, but he's disappeared in the playoffs multiple times.
Can't guard the perimeter.
But if Anthony Edwards takes the leap, we think he could. Their ceiling is as good as a lot of teams, right? Because
they kept Jaden McDaniels, who's a guy that
a beast.
We should have talked about a guy that's going to make a leap.
Yeah,
Jaden McDaniels has handle. He has Vanderbilt length. Yep. He can shoot the three, the corner three.
And he's going to get more minutes now.
He can slash.
And they got Josh Minot.
Yeah.
Who's a beast. Yeah. And Wendell Moore.
Yeah.
Jr.
Yeah.
Who's also a beast. They didn't need first rounders, so I guess the trade makes sense in the way
you keep some of your depth.
Keep some of your guys, and I like it. I just don't love Gobert's contract. I don't think you needed to get.
They'll be better than they were last year.
Of course.
They'll be better.
Well, not necessarily seed wise or win wise.
Win total wise.
I don't know. You got Clippers and Nuggets healthy again.
That's another team that people are sleeping on too. The Nuggets for some reason.
Well, the Nuggets could finish first in the West.
Somebody on ESPN. I don't know. I think it was Matt Barnes.
Are people forgetting what Jamal Murray did in the playoffs?
I keep calling him Matt Barnes on this. I love you.
Jamal Murray is
great Clippers.
I know. Jamal Murray is the Clippers' father.
Jokic is the whole. Jokic. The Nuggets are the Clippers' father.
Right. So bro, what I don't understand is you get Jamal Murray, Jokic. By the way,
Jamal Murray bounced back league.
Of course he's going to have a. Jamal Murray's 23 points per game. We all know Jamal Murray's a borderline, he's a star.
Yeah.
And he's in that in-between star and superstar. A lot of players. There's 15 players in the league that are between star and superstar. He's one of them. Speaking of Jamal Murray, or just the Nuggets in general, Jokic last season had the best statistics of any player in the history of the game. Highest player efficiency rating of all time. And his second best player was Will Barton or Monte Morris or Aaron Gordon. Now you get KCP, who's a champion, who plays championship level basketball. Bones Highland is another guy that's going to take a huge leap. They only traded Monte Morris and Will Barton because they know Bones Highland's going to take a huge leap.
Yeah.
And then Christian Brown, good prospect right there.
Yeah. And then they already have their core.
And Michael Porter Jr.
Michael Porter Jr. is coming back.
Michael Porter Jr. could become one of the best players in the league. Right. I still believe that. I know he was hurt. But there were talks that he would turn into a superstar after that playoff run with and if he's healthy, and then you have two-time MVP Jokic, who by the way is still hated on, top 3 NBA player. I don't care what anybody says. Kevin Durant is not a better basketball player than Nikola Jokic right now. He hasn't impacted the game as much as Nikola Jokic. Nikola Jokic at least got a game on the Warriors. Durant couldn't get a game on the Celtics.
Well, those are Two completely different.
Yeah, but he had Kyrie Irving. Who'd Jokic have? Will Barton?
Well, no, just the fact that they were the 6th seed alone is an accomplishment.
Jokic is a top 3 NBA player.
We got to understand this, guys. The Nuggets were 6th seed without Michael Porter Jr. and Jamal Murray. And then you add those guys back. What do you think's going to happen? People are still... I saw Matt Barnes put the Nets as a top 5 contender over the Nuggets.
With KD and Kyrie?
With one of them. With just Kyrie.
Dude, even if they have both of them, they're not finishing top 7 in the East.
Thank you.
Do you know how bad the team chemistry is?
I don't understand where this knowledge
Ben Simmons, I think Ben Simmons has the ability to come back and be very good if he actually learns how to play basketball again.
Plays at all.
If he plays. I mean, Ben Simmons is an elite defender, one of the best in the league, and one of the best passers, and one of the best rebounding guards. It's literally the jumper. Remember, Ben Simmons, just a couple of years ago, people were like, if he develops a jumper, he's the MVP of the NBA every year. He's LeBron James. That's what everyone was saying. Right? He's not going to develop the jumper, but he's still an elite basketball player. The TJ Warren signing's underrated. I do like that. And if you get KD back and just ship Kyrie for like THT and none, I don't even care if it's like just get Kyrie off the team. They'll be better. Like, I agree, but they're not going to be a top 5 seed in the NBA. Like, let's be real here. You got the Nuggets, you got the Clippers, and the Clippers, by the way, have the best roster in the NBA, top to bottom. No? Am I wrong? Maybe Warriors. Maybe the Warriors.
Yeah,
because Wiseman's going to come back and have a big year. That's why if I'm Bob Myers, I don't know why you extended Looney. I think Wiseman can play that role better than Looney.
I think it's just the fact that he established.
Did so well.
He's established. Like, Wiseman, you don't really know yet.
Well, Kuminga
kind
too.
of, but you just don't.
Talk about a future core. Kuminga's going to be a beast.
That's why this whole talk about the Warriors trading all those guys for Kevin Durant
is childish. I don't want Kevin Durant.
Childish.
It's childish. You ruin your future if you trade all those guys for Kevin Durant.
Bob Myers is smart. He said, no, we're not doing that.
He's not. Well, he doesn't want... I hate to say it. Everywhere KD has gone, right, the last couple of years, drama.
Even on the Warriors.
They won the title because they were so good. They were awesome. Even him and Draymond were like butting heads and stuff. Yeah. And it's like, and now Draymond wants a max. I love you, my boy Draymond. Here's a hot take. I think he deserves the max.
No! I thought we were going to agree on this.
I'm kidding. I'm joking. You thought I was serious?
Hold on. This is what I was going to say. Okay. This is a conspiracy.
I was joking. That was a joke.
It's not a conspiracy, but it's kind of like a theory. He did that so that the Warriors could say hell no, and so he could go play with LeBron.
You think so?
Do you know how close him and LeBron are? After he punched him in the balls in the finals.
But why would
they've been close?
Why would you want Draymond Green on the Lakers, bro? I mean, he's a great. Actually, that's a bad take.
Could you imagine Draymond Green on this iteration of the? It doesn't matter.
Yeah, but he's the best defender in the NBA, right?
So, he was going to win DPOY last year before he got hurt.
Yeah, and here's a hot take. I do think Draymond deserves a max. I'm going to stick with it. This is why. He's the best defender in the NBA.
Yeah.
He's a top 10 playmaker in the NBA. Yeah, he can't score. But the guys that are... Like, Brunson got a max.
Gobert.
And Gobert got a max.
Is he better than Rudy Gobert?
Yes. 10 times better than Rudy Gobert. I'm sorry. Yes. Like, he's a champion 3 or 4 times. Four times. It's like... I mean, I think he deserves a max. It's a hot take. I do. I think the way
Didn't he already get a max back?
By the way, if Draymond Green isn't on any of these Warriors teams, they never win a championship.
Wow.
Never. Even with KD and Steph and Clay. They don't win.
Really?
They don't win without Draymond. Do you
That's
understand
true.
why?
He's a brain. He's the brain to that system.
He makes them the best defense in the NBA.
Yeah.
So I agree with you. I don't know why I was saying, the Lakers. I was just thinking, like, I don't know how the
But I don't think the Warriors give it to him.
No, Draymond is like, he's Draymond. Yeah. He brings a lot to the table, and I think that they can't pay him, by the way. They can't give him a max. The Lakers could give him a max next summer.
No, that's true.
Is that a good
move?
But
no, because...
They need to rebuild, though.
If Kyrie stays, he'll be a free agent. Would you pick Kyrie or Draymond? On the max deal? Yeah, Kyrie. So you kind of got to wait and see, you know.
I mean, I don't know. Honestly, that's a conversation. I know Kyrie...
Draymond or Kyrie is a conversation?
Think about it, because what Kyrie has done the past couple of years, like, I agree, like, he'll be... But if you get Draymond Green on the Lakers, they're the best defense in the NBA. With Davis and Green.
If you get Kyrie on the Lakers, they're an automatic
contender. They're the best offense in the NBA.
Yeah,
I know. I would choose Kyrie. I'm just saying it's a
good problem to have.
It's a good problem to have, right? So that's the Baller Sports Dialogue podcast today. We thank you guys for listening. Go support us on TikTok, Baller Sports Dialogue podcast. Brandon S. Deutsch and Grant Mona. We love you guys. Thank you for listening. And shout out to Athletic Gains.
Yeah, AG, man.